The Mazer Lesbian Archives is a vital resource for our community because it empowers women, and it also shows all the history up till now so that women don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, they can start from the progress already made by women before them and move forward, and that's a really valuable gift.
I think the vitality comes from us being rooted in the grassroots, and it's like a plant that's in real soil and not in some phony baloney pot somewhere. We're rooted and we draw in from the community, and the community nourishes us, and we provide the fruit of our history back to the community. And the leaves drop and they decompose and the soil enriches. So I think we have that kind of a cycle. I think the fact that we're grassroots is the thing that has really kept us alive and that I really value.
I think one of the most important things about the Mazer is it gives a perspective of what has happened in the lesbian community throughout the years. When I first came out, it was a very different world. People were being fired from their jobs, especially teachers, social workers, and I originally was a social worker. We were military people were being separated from the military as a result of just who they loved. We have the history of all these women, not all these women, but a lot of these women here. It's very important for us to know that history, because if we don't know it, then we cannot have a perspective to give to the next generations of the homophobia and the bigotry that many of us lived through. And without having that perspective, they don't know what to fight to keep. It's very important that we fight to keep our freedoms that have come along since I have been out, especially in the past 15 or 20 years, because if we don't keep that perspective, it's very easy to lose freedoms. And it's very easy to go back into those times where we're afraid, and where we're afraid to go out and hold hands or to talk about who we are. A lot of that perspective is within these rooms, and a lot of the history and the knowledge and the understanding of what all we have fought so hard in order to maintain and preserve for the future.
I think the Mazer collection is very important for the coming generations. For instance, I left all my work. I went back to school in '82 to become a family therapist and studied psychology, eating disorder topics, many, many topics. And I've given them all my work. And I feel future generations of young lesbian women can learn from a lot of our pasts, especially women like me who have lived so long and had many lives in one life.
One of my favorite parts of the collection are the photographs, and we'll be walking through and you have in your mind an idea of the times that you didn't live through before you were born, what the 60s and the 70s were like for me. And then I'll see a picture and I'll be showing it to somebody as a part of a tour, and a woman will say, "Oh wait, there's Sally in the background," or I was right over at the side there helping lift something out of the truck. And for a moment, that history comes alive, and you can see in people's faces how excited they are to see their own life histories within our walls.
I was going through stuff, we were moving stuff out, and I opened this and it had said Elizabeth Gould Davis, who was the author of the book, and I had never looked, I've been here for years and years and years, I'd never bothered to open it up. I opened it up, and it was a sequel to The First Sex. I was beside myself, I was screaming, I was so excited. And apparently what happened is that she had written it, she died before it was published. There was an agent listed in the cover sheet, whom I tried to contact, but I don't think she's around anymore. But it is her sequel to that book, and it was going to be her response to the criticism that she got from writing the book. So that was pretty damn exciting. So that was the most exciting thing.
When you would research a button, it would be a button and it would say no on 6, so we got to figure out what that is, And so then we go into the research and we learn about all kinds of things, and it was very interesting. And the most interesting thing to me was a button that said AHF, AIDS Hospice Foundation. And all my years I've been thinking it was called AIDS Healthcare Foundation. So in the beginning, AIDS Healthcare Foundation was called AIDS Hospice Foundation, because in the beginning of this horrible disease, all people thought about was dying with dignity. And today, it's AIDS Healthcare Foundation because they are living with dignity.
My very favorite, Jerry and I were here one time, and a woman from Japan came in to visit our collection. She's a newscaster in Tokyo. She came out as a lesbian when she is the first and only woman or even a gay male to come out. She wanted to come here. She had heard of us. She wanted to come here and she wanted to see our collection. And she came in and she was so enthusiastic, and she was laughing and giggling and jumping, just kind of jumping up and down and clapping her hands together, that she couldn't get enough of what she was seeing here. And I'll never forget that enthusiasm and realizing this is really what we're all about. Here's this woman who has this lone voice in a very large, populous country, and she's a lone voice in the news world, and and I'm sure she took a lot of flack for coming out, but how brave she is, and that she could come here and get a sense of community and feel like she was really part of a larger picture. That was really very exciting, and that will live with me forever.
So I just think it's really important for us to have the stories here of everyday people, so that everyday people can come here and discover they're not alone. Other people have lived a perfectly happy lesbian life at other times through difficult errors, and I think that's one of the big things that the collection does, the materials do, and that's, I think, something that I really value about it.
And it's because of you and because of your generous support that we are able to continue our mission and move forward.
It was because of the donors that I have been able to do this project of preserving all of these films. And I am very grateful to you for giving us financial support to give the opportunity for this. And I just think that's very important, and I'm very grateful to all of you for that.
Thank you for supporting the June L. Mazur Lesbian Archives. We couldn't be here without your help.
Thank you so much for all your support for the Mazur.
It's important for lesbians to be responsible for our history.
With your help, we will be able to continue forever empowering and supporting lesbian and feminist women all over the world.